Warning. Landing. like that? Oh. Well, I didn't know if you might be told. I have that on Saturday. I think my week out. This was a shitty game. Oh, it's just I didn't. It's my first. Probably. I heard like a. That's why that means. Anything stays there, and I heard. We actually don't have. I set it up. I saw you guys getting it, and then
I would have to upload it because I'm not in a live truck.
I like it. You know what? I don't ask me, I'm a little live in person.
I can try it.
I was going. I got my gloves. Don't be.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, it looked like a so was it? I just thought it was 55 days. It looks like a matter. No, it's black. Literally looks like and I also got they were at liquor. Oh, I just had it up. Yeah, I just I wrote something about you know, so you should see it as like a second. No. We'll say that. My wife's
well, consistency, yeah, consistency. So he's been there. we're getting toward the end of our time, but, he's listening now, so I'd like to know that. Like, they work with special education, and they like. So, yeah. So, yeah, so he's still there. But yeah. But, yeah, so, but yeah, it's between 3:30 and 4 a.m.
I know they struggled this morning.
All right, guys. I guess I'll be here. Guess we'll be.
John, how are you? Good. You heard about who's going to end up? Who's going to end up? So I keep here. I do.
We're going to start with Paul Brower, who's going to give you an update as to what he's been doing and what communication he has had with other agencies throughout the state, as well as the federal government. Paul. And Paul, again, is our emergency management coordinator.
Good afternoon. Since this morning, we've declared a local state of emergency with the hope that whatever damages we incur as a township, we may be able to get reimbursed under Section 19 of the Emergency Management Act, Public Act 390. As of right now, the fire is under control, but however, there are some debris piles where the building collapsed that are still burning and smoking. Occasionally, there'll be a explosion of one of the containers that still makes it difficult for our investigators to get in and start to look at what the cause of this fire was. 15 Mile Road, as of right now, is still closed and remains so for a while, but I think there's some conversations going on right now about opening that back up so we can return to normal flow of traffic. Our public works people have been out since this morning, and they have gone through countless neighborhoods, picking up debris on sidewalks, front yards, and out of the street. The debris field has been estimated to be a mile across. They are looking for damage, searching residential areas for undamaged canisters, which, if not handled properly, could have a pressure explosion due to the fact that the heat could have compromised the metal, and you could have a pressure release. So far, we've located 25 that have been on roofs and embedded in yards throughout the township through the blast area. Those have been turned over to the bomb squad of the Michigan State Police, and they have been rendered safe. We have on our website, we have established a reporting tool that individuals and businesses can get on there, and if they're reporting damage, we'd like them to use that tool, and that is for tracking purposes only and not for requests for compensation. I've been contacted by Captain Sweeney, who is the Deputy Director of the Emergency Management Division of the Michigan State Police. He has assured me that we will have access to whatever resources that the state can supply for us. if it need be. We've also been, I don't know where this one came from, but we also got contacted by the intergovernmental affairs person from the White House. So that's how far the information on this incident has gone. And they have also, in that email, indicated that they will work with us to get whatever resources that we may need to get to the bottom of this. Presently, they're working with several agencies, including the ATF, to determine what the cause of this incident is. The business owners so far, as reported to me, have been very cooperative and forthright with their information. That's all I have for right now.
Thank you, Paul, and I'm sure all of you are concerned about how much material has been collected throughout the township. And with me is Scott Kleinfeld, who's going to tell you about his crew who has been out all day, and I believe they're going to be working for a big part of the night too, because there is much more than we anticipated. And we encourage, again, people not to go out looking for these for souvenirs. This is not a game. These things are dangerous. They're jagged. They could hurt some little people. And they're containers that are still exploding. Not very many, but it's still dangerous. So, Scott?
Yes, the Department of Public Services has been out for several hours, starting this morning till currently. We are picking up all sidewalks, all front of homes in a 2-mile radius is where we have been. We have collected 15 yards of debris as far out as 2 miles. So this explosion sent a lot of debris out into the community. So we have all sidewalks cleared. We have all the right-of-ways cleared for public safety. And like Bob had said, we want to stress that people picking these canisters up, there is a danger there. And we are working with the Michigan State Bomb Squad to work with them to pick these canisters up and secure them to, for public safety. So that is all.
You good? Thank you, Scott. We have a company by the name of Balfour who is out securing the site with fencing. We do have police officers that will be monitoring the area. We do not want residents going in the fenced-in area. There will be repercussions if they do. And with that, I'm going to bring up our police chief because I know it's an ongoing investigation. There is nothing conclusive at this point in time. But Chief, do you want to just fill us in? What's going on?
Thank you, Mr. Cannon. Our investigators are working together with the fire marshal and ATF. Again, it is an ongoing investigation. The owners, the employees that were on scene have all been very cooperative throughout this investigation. They were there throughout the night, again, providing any information they can into this incident. So we will conduct our investigation and proceed as accordingly.
Thank you. And she has nothing else to say at this time because we don't have all the information that we need or want. And with that, I'll bring our fire chief, Tim Duncan, out. Tim has had a long night, obviously, and his guys have done a fabulous job, as they always do, as does our police department. We're very proud of public safety here in Clinton Township. Chief?
Hi, thanks, everybody. So anyways, we returned to the scene with our ladder truck earlier today. Put the truck up once it got repaired from some of the damage from last night, putting out the hot spots, trying to subdue some of the smoke over there, and basically cooling everything off. So they were on site there for several hours earlier today. Around the 1 o'clock time period, we felt comfortable to give the railroad the ability to open up that thoroughfare. They had to wait until approximately about 1:30 for consumers to walk the line due to some issues, making sure that their line was good and secured. So that should be back up and running. And we've obviously had our personnel out there, continued with our investigation course. Obviously, like everybody else has mentioned, the cooperation, we were approached by a special agent from the ATF to be involved in this. And we certainly gave our full approval to bring everything they can into the township and possibly along with the state of Michigan and our local investigators to try to figure out what's happening there. So we're cordoning off the area. Once again, broken record, please stay away. We don't want anybody getting hurt. And we'll be back there tomorrow to hopefully get the investigation underway with all personnel to start to look into this situation.
Thank you, Chief. Mary Bednar is head of our Department of Public Works in the Water and Sewer Division, and she knows that there are other businesses that are affected greatly by this tragedy. So Mary, you want to just tell us what those businesses are and what's going on with them?
Yes, there's currently several businesses that are being affected. The Burger King, the Walgreens, across the street of 15 Mile Road, and Employment Services, and several of the light industrial buildings still have debris in their parking lots. We focused in Public Works, the area between Garfield and Gratiot, 16 Mile and 14 Mile, but the immediate quarter mile around the site still has quite a bit of debris. We'll be working with people to try to get that debris picked up or at least secured in the meantime.
Thank you, Mary. Now we'll throw it open to questions. Just tell us who you'd like to address the question
Bob,
to.
Can you first discuss with us the 19-year-old? Are you going to be identifying that young man?
Chief, we haven't identified him yet.
No, we have not.
Okay, we have not identified the young man yet. I don't know if everybody's been informed. At this point in time, I think we're looking for privacy for the family, and soon it'll be up, but not yet.
What was he doing?
We don't, well,
We were told he was at a car wash
I think he was observing what was going on.
by himself.
I don't know.
Was it not at BD's, the BD car wash?
I believe it was.
It was a car wash right at 15 Mile Road and Beaconsfield.
Can you talk about the fact that at 10 o'clock, you said that you were interrogating or you were questioning the owners and that there had been no arrest. Is there an arrest imminent? Are you still questioning the owners?
Still questioning the owner and the employees to try and determine what occurred.
Do we know if they were allowed to have these canisters filled with butane?
We know that they were not allowed to have these canisters. They were not permitted to have them in this building. They were illegally in that building.
What about, were they closing last night? Was the business closed when the fire started? Was it open?
We have information that it was closed, but there were employees on site filling some online orders.
So there were people in the building
Yes.
that had to run out.
Yes,
And they gave you no indication as to what might have caused the fire?
none, no.
Again, this is an ongoing investigation. We're only a couple hours into it.
Okay.
Everybody evacuated safely. They got the Walgreens employees out safely, the Burger King employees out safely. Other businesses were closed around that area. So everybody's accounted for.
Chris, did you have a question?
Yeah, I just wanted to follow up on the 19-year-old. Do you have any idea of when you might have additional information to release about that particular victim?
Yeah, we're going to speak to the family regarding that and maybe tomorrow.
Is he from Clinton Township?
Yes.
Can you talk?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Has the township cited this building before for any issues? And when was the fire marshal's last inspection of the facility? And what was the results of the inspection?
Chief, you want to talk? We'll go to the fire marshal first, and then we'll talk about building.
So the last inspection that we have was back in May of 2022. From a fire perspective, we didn't have any notable exceptions prior to them receiving their certificate of occupancy. So in between that time period, we did not have anything on record.
Thank you. And this is Barry Miller, head of our building department. Barry?
Hello. Yeah, as I stated this morning, inspections were performed in 2022 in correlation with the fire department and through their permitting process. Since then, we've had one complaint on the property, and it had nothing to do with anything internal. It was for the storage of duck boats out in front of the business, which is in a violation of their site plan usage. But other than that, there's been no reason for the building department or fire department to suspect that any of this was going on.
Barry, what happened after the violation of the duck boats? Did
They removed them and came into full compliance before we issued any kind of citation. We gave them a warning and they complied.
Thank you.
They were authorized to sell vapes commercially to customers, but what were they doing with the canisters on site?
We didn't know the canisters were on
We
site.
have
Appreciating
no
that, but I
idea.
guess in hindsight now, what were they doing with that much on premises?
We would just be speculating at this point.
We don't know.
That's to be determined.
That's to be determined.
Okay.
you have a message to folks? When we were out there, we saw citizens picking up canisters, putting them in their cars, taking them. What's the message to folks?
The message is very simple. Please don't put yourself, your family, and your friends in jeopardy, because those are dangerous. Anybody who saw anything at all from last night knows what could possibly happen to them. If you go take a look at some of the buildings where they're embedded in the building or in the roofs of buildings in the area, you don't want those in your car or in your home or near any family members. Please don't do it.
Chief Duncan, can you talk about the idea of having these particular kinds of canisters? What are the rules governing having them, where they're supposed to be stored? And we know that they weren't supposed to be there, but where are they supposed to be stored?
So we're still working on that information. We do have that available to us, but we're not ready to put that out there yet. There's a lot of aspects that go into these, the storage, what they're allowed to do, certain amounts that they're allowed to have. It's a very detailed accounting that's, obviously done by, the rules or, our codes. So at this stage, we're still fully investigating, trying to figure out what they actually had on site, the quantities, so on and so forth. So still way too early to exactly speak intelligently on that. So we're waiting to gather information through the building department, our ATF allies, state allies, and our local people to, basically get to the bottom of it. So rest assured that will be done, and it's going to be done in a hopefully timely fashion.
What comes next in this process throughout the rest of the day today and then into the night with just cleanup and investigation?
Biggest thing tonight is the securing the area. Like Supervisor Cannon and everybody else has said, is keeping the public away. We did have to take the step to have some of our police presence over there. Obviously, you can't control all the time a vast area like we're talking about. You got two major intersections there, people coming in from all over the place. We highly suggest that people take the advice and stay away. From there, we have the scene, hopefully as locked down as we can tonight. And then tomorrow morning early, the ATF team, state, and the local fire prevention division have met this afternoon. They got a game plan in place to go ahead and move forward. Chances are there's going to have to be some heavy machinery out there at some point to start doing this, but they got to move with caution, because they're essentially still putting themselves in harm's way. It's a static, not a static scene, but very dynamic scene. So even with them stepping through, they have to watch out every step they take. So obviously, if we're taking that amount of caution, the public certainly needs to take.
When we could possibly get a cause and how this all.
This could be several days. Obviously, they're going to take samples of whatever they have, that they come across. Usually, sometimes the state will bring in some of the dogs to kind of just, sniff that out. So we have a great working relationship with them. Certainly, I authorize them to come in full bore. We don't want to, turn down any opportunity to have help. So they're very, gracious, and they're willing to come in and help out. And I think they're, ready to take control and help us out, which is going to be a great learning experience for our community also. So as you know, we don't come across this stuff all that often.
Well, how did you manage all the huge flood of 911 calls? And did you guys run into any hiccups?
So fortunately for our community, we're aligned with Comtech, which is part of the dispatch center throughout Macomb County. They pretty much control about half of the county. Without that, on a local level, if we were still doing it ourselves, it would be nearly impossible. One person could never handle that. They're pros at what they do. They can handle an immense amount of phone calls that come in. This would be similar in nature to a pretty major storm that would come through. You're getting calls in the hundreds, and they have the personnel that are capable of handling that, disseminating the information that needs to go out, and turning that on to the people that you need to respond to it. So we really didn't experience much issue. Very good with our battalion chief that was on scene last night. Things were controlled. I said I'm exceptionally proud of our people, the people that came in and helped from the other communities. So it's chaos, but it was controlled chaos, basically through the efforts of the people on scene.
For point of clarity, is your department in the lead? Is ATF in the lead?
So we will still remain in the lead. They are always coming in as an assist. So they're like I said, they're gracious enough to come in and give us their experience. We do interact with the state numerous times, even on basic house fires, because they're always learning. They're bringing some of their people in. It's always a turnover of personnel, so any chance they get to learn, they're helping out. So it's nice, and sometimes we'll get nearby communities that will bring their personnel over on site. with some of the newer dogs that are trained to do this kind of thing. So, it's definitely a good outreach. Great from a regional perspective that we get all this help. Like I said, one department cannot do this on their own.
And if you would, to a layperson, what are the priorities as you go tomorrow and the next day in regard to beyond safety, but what are the challenges when you look at what you've seen and what you're going to be dealing with, trying to reconstruct where this may have originated from, those types of things, but how do you approach this tomorrow?
So they have a pretty good understanding of where they're going to start the process. They've been doing this for a number of years, so they do have a specific part of the building that they feel they're going to start. Basically, step one, and then from there, they recreate the scene. You're going to be starting to pull things back. You recreate what you think happened, and then obviously with some of the information you get from the people that were in the building, you're going to get little clips. So the biggest part is about kind of clearing everything out, recreating what you can, putting it back together as much as you possibly can. So like you had a typical house fire, you're trying to recreate the room, trying to pattern what's happening. There's certain patterns that happen. Not a lot of this building left, so it's going to be hard work for the people that are on scene there, certainly. But we have the pros. We have the federal people that do this day in and day out, and so certainly this is going to be a huge effort to determine this.
My last question, if I may, I mean, given the intensity of this and how long you first responders had to wait, I mean, is there much of a scene left to recreate?
Well, it's surprisingly amazing what they can do. They got technology on their side. They're going to obviously have video that's occurred throughout the night. They're going to obviously access everything they have capability to see that. So they'll see how this thing evolved. They'll see how it developed. So some smart people out there, far smarter than me. I take my hats off to them, the ladies and gentlemen that do this kind of stuff. So I'm encouraged that they'll hopefully come to some type of resolution. But as we all know, sometimes you get to the end of it and you just shake your head and go, we may never know. But certainly every effort will be put in place to try to determine this.
Having said that, do you anticipate that there was a fire and then the explosion, or the explosion caused the fire?
Right now, it's just still too early to tell. Like I said, some of it's going to be based upon the information we glean from the people that were in the building at the time. So that'll be a huge step, to determining some of that.
Chief, can you discuss the notion of the fact that more people weren't injured? I mean, when you look at what was happening out there, it was tragic that this young man died and your firefighter was hurt. But it's staggering that no other people were injured.
Oh, unbelievably so. Like I said earlier today, the fact, once I got home and got to digest for a few minutes, just the enormity of the situation and what everybody was, tasked with, it basically was a war zone. You had shrapnel going off everywhere you looked. So if you're standing outside, you're wondering, when's the next piece coming at my way? When's it going to hit us? It's hitting our vehicles. As we're in vehicles, it's careening off of them. We had a number of, obviously, our fire engines and police vehicles that were hit. So even no matter how much effort you take, we've got helmets on, we've got gear on. If that thing's coming, it's going to hit you in the face, hit you in the chest, hit you in somewhere in the body, you're going to suffer some severe consequences. So I don't think we think about it right up front. We're trained to do some dangerous things. I think it's when you take the step back later in the evening or at night that it overcomes you. You really look and thank God that we had nobody injured from ours. We did have the one firefighter that was injured, but fortunately he got checked out rapidly by the hospital. They took care of him really good. And unfortunately we had the one, person pass away. But the fact that there was no other major injury or, somebody passing on that scene, somebody was looking out for us. That's all I can say.
Thank you.
Okay, we are in a local state of emergency. So as soon as we're done here, the two chiefs have indicated to me that it's safe to open up all of our roads. So 15 Mile will be open for the balance of the investigation. Thank you.